Hey everybody, happy Sunday and happy new year. Welcome to 2025. I hope the start to the year has been a good one for you. And welcome to the very first Sunday musing of the year. If you haven't watched our chicken and garden update, go watch it. If you want to know about the dilemma of me figuring out where my plants are going to go this year, crop rotation is a thing and I suck at it because I forget what I've put in where, and then I end up not necessarily planting companion plants together. Anyway, that is not why you are here. You are here for the Sunday musing, and today I want to ask you how you plan on lowering your carbon footprint this year. If 2024 taught us anything, it is that, well, the climate is responding far quicker to what we humans are doing to it. We saw records broken in terms of heat waves, we saw record droughts, we saw record wildfire seasons, obviously still happening in the Southern Hemisphere. And that's very depressing if you kind of look at what we are doing to the planet. And it's becoming increasingly obvious that governments and legislative efforts are not going to save us, especially in the US with the incoming administration who thinks that climate change is a hoax, who thinks that electric cars suck, who wants to drill baby drill and all of that stuff. So it really is, 2025 really is, I think, going to be the year of grassroots activism and getting your sleeves rolled up and getting stuck in and doing stuff yourself, joining community organizations and making the world a better place from the bottom up, not waiting for someone at the top to help us out. Because I think as 2024 demonstrated, they don't care and they're not here to help. So we need to get active and do things ourselves. And so this year, we're starting the year off by me asking you, what are your plans for 2025 to lower your carbon footprint? Now, there are many different ways you can do it. Maybe you are someone who doesn't yet own an electric vehicle. Maybe your plans for 2025 include switching from a fossil fuel vehicle to an alternative fuel, whether that's battery electric, maybe that's human hybrid, maybe you are going to get an electric bicycle. That is a valid and commendable switch. And actually, from a global emissions point of view, you're going to save a whole lot more in the way of emissions by switching to an electric bicycle rather than a battery electric car. You're going to be fitter, and that's also going to have a positive impact on your particular segment of the multiverse. So maybe that is where you're going this year. Maybe you are someone who is going to be buying an EV. Or maybe you're considering a conversion. I feel like conversions have kind of got to a point now where they're going to experience a bit of a renaissance in the coming years as certain governments make it harder and harder for companies to make EVs. I think we're going to see more and more people put their smarts into building their own vehicles, especially with, as I say, the renaissance of homemaking. It's never been easier to make things at home. If you can operate a 3D design program, you can 3D print, you can now buy little CNC machines. I have a Carvera Air, I have a Bamboo Lab X1C 3D printer, and those two things together are pretty powerful. The things you can make, the things you can mod, it's really impressive. And I think we're going to see a lot of that this year. So maybe you are someone who's looking to do that. Perhaps one of the ways that you're looking to lower your carbon footprint this year is to work with your local community. Maybe you have a solar farm project that you've all chipped into and you're going to have a community solar project somewhere where you all get reduced electricity, but you're also all backing the construction of this new photovoltaic solar array system. Maybe you're putting solar on the roof of your home. Maybe you're doing something even more impressive, I think, than just paying someone to put solar panels on the roof of your home. Maybe you're making your own solar array, or perhaps you have a stream that runs through your garden and you're going to make a water wheel and you've got the permits to make sure that you can do that. Tell me about that. That's a great way of lowering your carbon footprint. Maybe your approach is a little bit less hands-on and a little bit more supply chain oriented. Maybe you are someone who's like, okay, I'm not going to buy things that have to be shipped halfway around the world. That is a commendable thing. Maybe you are going to stop buying certain materials. I know, for example, that wool is really enjoying a resurgence right now because wool is ultimately a low carbon material, and it's quite versatile. And as long as you look after it properly and you don't shrink it in your washing machine, it can last a really long time. And, we're starting to see, certainly in fashion communities, the resurgence of different types of wool, sometimes from animals other than sheep, that is much more sustainable than, the traditional quote unquote man-made fibers that we've become so accustomed to over the years. So maybe that is something in your future. Maybe that's something that you're switching to lower your carbon footprint. And obviously combined with that, maybe you're committing to not buy clothes that were made in a sweatshop overseas, or perhaps you are going to thrift a lot of your clothes and say, okay, I'm going to buy clothes that are pre-loved and bring them back and wear them and buy high quality clothes that somebody else has owned rather than fast fashion. That is highly commendable. Tell me about that in the comments below if you are doing that. Maybe you are going to be like I was a couple of years ago and go, okay, I'm going to start growing all of my fruit and vegetables myself. I'm going to try and lower my carbon footprint by growing as much locally as I can. And I know there have been various studies over the years that say that having your own garden is actually more carbon intensive than going to the supermarket and buying food that was produced on a mass market farm somewhere. But I think a lot of those studies kind of eliminate the effects of yearly maintenance to your garden and enriching your soil again and again and again, and maybe using your own manure from either a local farm, or maybe you have chickens like I do and you use some of that to enrich the soil. That is always going to have a different carbon footprint to you going down to the local DIY store, B&Q, whatever, and buying bagged compost that has been shipped from either another country or perhaps a different part of your country. That is obviously going to have a higher carbon footprint, and I think that's where a lot of those studies come from. Perhaps another thing that you're going to commit to this year is either lowering or eliminating your meat consumption. That is something I'm looking into this year. I have been vegetarian in the past. I've had a mainly vegetarian diet, and I am moving back towards a mainly vegetarian diet. Simply and purely because of the health benefits for me. If you have large amounts of saturated fat, which can come from a lot of meats, that can ultimately affect your health as well as your carbon footprint. I'm still going to be buying meat now and then from our local butcher, but I am looking to reduce it and to explore my meat-free options. Changing my diet, changing my portion sizes, reducing my consumption of things that come from a long way away. I'm also going to be continuing what I have done this year, which is I've been self-roasting my own coffee. Coffee has a huge carbon footprint, right? Coffee comes, you don't grow coffee in Oregon. It has to come a long way. I buy coffee from a local coffee cooperative in Portland. I buy in bulk green beans. I make sure that we get them shipped here. That coffee company, by the way, runs a fleet of electric vehicles for delivery, which I think is great. But then I roast them at home, and I roast them when I need them in batches of about once a week. And that ensures that I'm not throwing away stale beans. I can monitor the quality of the beans and the roasting process a little bit better. And I can also choose to roast when our solar panels are producing excess electricity. So there's a benefit there for me as well. Of course, there's a whole host of other things that we can do to lower our carbon footprint this year, from making sure that we take the train or public transit rather than necessarily driving when we're going to short haul or mid haul flights instead of taking a plane, maybe looking into alternative ways of getting from point A to point B. And again, that is something I'm very eager to do this year, if only because of legislative changes in the US that make airports a little bit more of a scary place for my community. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. We're not going to go and discuss that and bring that particular topic into this video. But I would love to know, how are you going to make your world cleaner, greener, safer, smarter, and more equitable in 2025? Show what you're going to do in the comments below. Tell us if you have links to organizations that perhaps you're going to get involved with. tell us about it, and maybe we can encourage other people to do the same thing.
Thanks for joining me today, and if you've got thoughts, make sure you leave them in our Discord chat room, on our Patreon page, or you can reach out to us using Mastodon or Blue Sky. Thanks to the amazing list of people scrolling by on your screen right now. They are some of more than 1,500 people who help fund this channel using Patreon and YouTube, helping us cover our bills, pay our team, and making sure that we can remain 100% independent. If you'd like to join them and see your name listed here, just follow the links below. There are a range of different tiers you can sign up for, from as little as $1 a month, or if you pay yearly, just under $11 a year. We've had so many headaches with our credit list in the last few months. I'm sorry, it's been down to a non-functioning program we were using to pull the list out, but today's list has been manually generated, so please do let us know if you're not on there and should be. We are, after all, only human-ish. A huge welcome to our newest supporters: Steve Abernathy, Mike Nichols, Zach Kane, Philip Atkins, Kat, Rob Thomas, Ryan S., Laura, Jay Alor, Celia Gonzalez, France G. France, Nicole Huang, oh yeah, Pedro Huget, Duran Valentin, Winfred Gerlach, John Trindle, Sarah Hendrika Biketon, Edward Kufka, Stephen Beatty, Jonathan Rees, MJY, Owen Patrick, and Gail Jackson. To join the list and get your shout out, become a paid Patreon member for your moment of fame. And remember, you can also now gift membership to someone else. If you'd like to support us with a one-off donation, you'll find links below to make Ko-fi and Bitcoin donations. And we even have an old-fashioned PO box you can reach us at. The address is listed below. And if you're in need of some swag, you'll find our swag store also in the down below. We've got some fantastic content coming up, so make sure you're subscribed on PeerTube or YouTube, and we'll see you very soon. We make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you want more, the mighty algorithm thinks you'll like this video, but we also think that you should look at this one. See you soon, and as always, keep evolving!